Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you've become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. It's a new year. You probably want to create some healthy habits that serve you and support you. So why is it so easy to fall back to our old ways of doing things? Bad habits, you don't have to teach them to yourself. They just show up and they're there and they're not serving us. And if we want to create healthy habits, sometimes it feels so hard to create those healthy habits and actually stick with them. So today for this podcast episode, I invited Emily, who is a habit hack coach. In this episode, you will learn why it's so hard to break negative habits and where to start making positive changes. Also, how do you overcome that all or nothing mentality that many of us have? Well, if I can't do it right, I might as well just not do it. What mindset shifts do you need to make to create a new healthy habit? Because if you just say, "Oh, I'm just going to start doing X, Y, Z and eat healthier," well, you need to make some mindset shifts because without mindset, those actions won't stick for a long time. And how do you stay motivated to keep going after slip-ups to poor habits? We will have days, everybody has days where they slip back to old ways of doing things. So how do you move past that? How do you motivate yourself to keep going? These are the questions that will be answered in this podcast episode, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did because this is such a wonderful conversation, and I hope it serves you well.
Emily, welcome. I am so excited for you to be here.
Elizabeth, thanks so much for having me on your show.
I wanted to ask you, what is something you've been loving lately?
Okay. This sounds really basic, but it's my Stanley water bottle. I think everyone has one right now. My husband was like, seriously, we have another water bottle in our cabinet, but really I'm a big believer in staying hydrated. A lot of times, maybe if you're feeling a little grumpy, maybe you're a little dehydrated, and it has really been helping me with my water intake. So I love it so much. I'm obsessed. I like every friend I have. I'm like, here it is. Or if I coach a class and they have a Stanley, I'm like, cheers, check it out. So I love it. I'm obsessed.
That's so funny. I actually don't have one.
Oh, okay. You
No,
got to get one, Elizabeth. You're going to stay so hydrated.
I should. I have my regular water bottle that also just a straw water bottle. I always drink with a straw. It just I feel like I consume a lot more water that way.
Same.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your family, where you're from, about your podcast, how you got on this journey.
Yeah. Well, my name is Emily Nichols. I'm the host of the Self Transform podcast, where I help busy working moms habit hack their health in not a lot of time and guilt-free. And most importantly, though, I am a wife and a mom. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. We've been married and been together for like 10,000 years now. It doesn't seem like it though. And we have two boys. They're 15 and 11. We're here in the Midwest in Indiana. And like I said, I am a habit and fitness coach. So I started my own transformation journey back in 2015. I had a lot of really just unhealthy habits that I had adopted as I was dealing with the overwhelm of being a mom, of trying to be perfect for everyone and everything, climbing the corporate ladder. My husband was working like really weird hours. He would work nights, daytime, second shift, weekends, and his sleep was really lacking because of that. So our house felt really stressed, and I was dealing with it by, having like cookies in my car and hiding them from my family because I felt so guilty for eating them, or, having not just like a glass of wine, but like a few glasses of wine and feeling like really terrible on the other side. And at that time, my husband was an athlete and he couldn't run anymore. He gained a bunch of weight, like 50 pounds. And it just, our home just felt stressful. And it was like, this can't be what it's like to be married, working, and having kids. Like, we want to be thriving. So we decided to really just start with evaluating our habits and relationship around food. We started changing the way we ate, and it snowballed from there, right? From there, we were like, okay, let's start moving our bodies more. My husband used to be a runner. He became a marathon runner. He's a triathlete now. He's a Boston Marathon qualified runner. Like he's in it. He's in it now. I became a fitness coach from there after I kind of went on my own fitness journey. And then from there, I really dug deep into personal development, like listening to podcasts like yours or reading books. My friend group changed. We dug deeper into our church, our own faith practices, and connecting with the Lord. And then from there, it was like, oh, I've kind of like created my own like self-care routine. How have I made this work? Because I know my mom would always be like, girl, how are you doing all this? And I'm like, well, they're just habits. There's just things that I have established. And I got to thinking as I started helping more women, because women would come to me and I'm like, well, we all know to we got to have healthy habits. We got to eat well. We got to move our bodies. We got to talk nice to ourselves. But how the heck do we do that logistically with our busy lives? So that's when I became a behavior change specialist and really dug deep into habit strategy and habit hacking your health, instead of just being like, oh, well, you just go work out. It's like, okay, well, what are the barriers to doing that? What feels good for you right now? What does diet culture tell us about movement that we need to erase from our mindset? And now what I just do is help women just focus on, okay, what are the basic fundamental needs that I need to take care of myself, and seeing health not just as like fitting in a certain pair of jeans, but really health as training for life, and using basic habit strategy from the female perspective in order to make it work in your life and pivot in any season of your life, in order to not just like barely survive the day, or maybe, coming to a home that felt tense or stressed, but coming to a home where everyone is thriving. We're not just surviving, and we're living our lives just in the best way possible. And it really started with just one small little step, and it snowballed from there.
I like how you said that it started with one thing. the reality is it's really hard to change so many things at once. It's extremely difficult, and then it's not sustainable. And then we mess up, and we'll talk about this. And then we have that all or nothing mentality. So I wanted to dive deep a little bit more into breaking like negative habits, like you were saying, like eating cookies, or for example, when we're stressed out, just escaping and scrolling on our phone just to tune out and deal with uncomfortable feelings that way. So why is it so hard to break those habits? Like we can do it for like a few days, and then we have a hard day and we just want to go back to our old ways. Like, talk to me about breaking negative habits. What's so hard about that? And how can we make that change?
Yeah. Well, first we have to kind of think about what a habit is, right? A habit is an unconscious behavior. There's a lot of repetition with it. It's on autopilot, right? It's something you do without thinking about, like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about that. You do it every morning, night, you floss in between there, but that's something you don't have to think about. That's a habit that we have, right? Now, a routine is what's made of all those habits. So thinking of your morning routine, the order in which you get ready, those are the habits that make up that routine. So when we think of maybe negative habits that we have, there's some type of cycle with that as well. So when we think of habit strategy, I have a 5-step method, but I really want to focus on step number 4. This is basic 101 habit strategy. And when we have a habit, there is some type of cue. There's the actual routine and a reward we feel on the other side, even with bad habits or negative habits, right? What happens is, so say, you go and look in the mirror, you're getting dressed in the morning. That is your cue. Okay, I'm getting dressed in the morning. I look in the mirror. My routine is to talk negatively about myself. Okay, how many of us have done that before? Ladies, we're so hard on ourselves. We all are. And the reward on the other side, maybe it's just like the reward is actually negative, right? It's not like, yay, celebrate me. It's like, wow, then I feel low self-confidence about myself. The same can be said about like scrolling social media. So, maybe your cue is you just subconsciously, it's a habit now just to pick up your phone 20,000 times a day. The routine is you scroll and you get like a dopamine hit from it. That's the reward, right? And so it's become a habit. And in our brains, it's telling us, oh, this makes me feel better. When in all reality, maybe it's not, right? Maybe it's not. So it's going to take your brain some rewiring to break that habit. So say, for example, you are going to still get up in the morning. You are still going to get dressed. You're still going to look in the mirror, following that habit loop to make sure everything's in its place. You like the way you feel. And instead of picking yourself apart, you can just say, I look great today. I feel beautiful today. Put on something that makes you feel good. No one's paying attention if you're wearing the same thing later in the week anyways. Or if you're like me, I work from home and only people looking are my dogs, and I wear workout clothes every day. And replace that thought with a positive thought instead. And then you're going to rewire your brain. Maybe you'll get that dopamine hit too. The same can be said for scrolling social media. So like, okay, well, let's think of a different dopamine hit. So instead of picking up my phone, scrolling, I can get up from my desk and go take a walk around the office or take a walk around my house. Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm moving my body. There's a new dopamine hit. But like I said, habits are repetition. It's not going to feel automatic though at first. There's a saying, it takes 21 days to form a habit. However, it can take up to 90 days for it to feel like a lifestyle, which is where we want to get you, right? And that seems very daunting. I'm like, wow, that's going to take 10,000 years or it could take longer, right? Because as women, we have to do habits a little differently with the extra obstacles that we have internally and externally, but it can be done. 90 days goes like that. It's this matter of just taking one small little step and thinking about, what am I doing that's not serving me? How can I replace it with that same habit loop that's a more positive habit instead?
Yes. I like that, because like, I feel like oftentimes we're like, we just want to eliminate stuff, but if we don't fill it with something good, we're just going to go back to the same thing or something that's just as negative, but similar to the first one. And so like if you, let's say you want to stop smoking and you smoke because you're stressed out, well, okay, you eliminate that. But what are you doing instead to manage your stress? Right? Because if you just take it out, you're going to turn to drinking or whatever. Like, you got to fill it with something good that's actually serving you and benefiting you. So I know one of the things that you teach is attaching that habit to something you're already doing every day. Can you speak more to that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I love talking about habit stacking because that's how it becomes a habit. It's something where you already have a habit established and you stack the new habit on top of it. So say we have a negative self-talk loop going on in our head a lot of the day. So let's use brushing our teeth because that was a really easy habit that we know everyone does. So when we stack a new habit on top of another habit, we use a when then statement. We keep it like super simple. So when I brush my teeth, then I will say a little prayer. I will recite a mantra. You can even have a visual cue on your bathroom mirror, like a Post-it, or get a dry erase marker and write like a new mantra or prayer every week for you to say. That's a very simple way of habit stacking that. Now, it's not to be confused with multitasking though, because as ladies, we will be like, I am going to answer that text from my mom. I'm going to send this email. I'm over here, writing out my grocery list. We're doing all that at the same time. And that's where a lot of times where I know you talk about this, Elizabeth, we feel a little overstimulated. We got so much going. I don't want you to confuse habit stacking for multitasking. Habit stacking is an actual strategy to create a new healthy habit to make you feel good. Multitasking, there's a time and place. Like I'm a big believer in working out and like listening to like a book or a podcast at the same time. That's even deeper level habit stacking, but we don't want to confuse it with multitasking. We want to stack it. When this is done, then I will do this.
That is really well said. And that is something when I started to shift my daily routines, that was part of my journey, and create healthy habits. That is what I learned, was attaching it to something that you're already doing that's habitual to make it more likely for you to stick with it. And that was really helpful for me to, like in the morning when I wake up and I go to the kitchen, my laundry room is next to the kitchen. I can throw in a load of laundry. I'm already like, when my coffee's brewing, I can do that. I like that when then statement. I teach when then statement when it comes to like responding differently instead of reacting. When this happens, then I will do this. But I've never heard about it when it comes to habits. And I really, really like that you said it like that. Can you talk a little bit more about all or nothing mentality? Because I was telling you, my husband has this mentality. If I can't do it right, might as well just not do it at all. And I know that many people have that sort of mindset. Like, it's either I do it right all the way or might as well just not even try. And if they do try, they mess up, they have a hard day, they make a mistake, and they just give up completely. Can you speak to that, please?
Yes. I feel like as ladies, we do this a lot. There's so much expectations that I feel like society puts on us and we put on ourselves, and we have to be perfect 24/7 for everybody, for everybody we love, right? But there's no such thing as perfect. There's only progress we can make over time, and me sharing my own transformation story, like this has been going on since 2015. It didn't happen in 30 days. It has been a long process of, habit hacking my own health and adjusting as my life has changed, as my kids have gotten older. I've been in different seasons of my life. And I think as women, especially when it comes to healthy habits, like you kind of mentioned earlier, Elizabeth, we want to do it all at once. We are like, okay, Monday morning, especially if it falls on the first day of a month, we are like, okay, I'm going to make this big list. I'm going to put up my calendar. I'm going to do this 5-step list of all of these things I'm going to do for myself. And then by Thursday or Friday, you're like, I forgot what the list is. Where is the list even? And it's just too overwhelming. That's when we start a new habit, it's hard, right? It is telling your brain to learn something new. It's not habitual yet. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of tabs open in my brain. And to open up another tab, even if it's something that I know is good for me, that feels overwhelming. So how's it feel when I open 5 or 10 more tabs at once? That's even more overwhelming. So just think of it in that analogy. Just open up one more tiny little tab for yourself and see how it feels. Give it time. Just thinking about, okay, like for now, this season of life that I'm in, my kids are in spring sports. It's bananas around our house in the evening. So I do a lot of extra meal prep. So we aren't having to go through drive-throughs, or we have food ready to go when we get home from games. I'm really dialing into that right now, instead of being like, okay, and I'm going to go like do these really long workouts, and I'm going to do like long, like yoga sessions and like meditate and like do this and do that, because I don't have time for that. But I'm able to think of small little ways to do that. Kind of expanding even more, like we talked about on the when then statements, something that I teach are another level from there, if then statements, because not every day is going to go as planned. And a lot of times when that happens, that's when the all or nothing mentality takes place, because we're like, well, it didn't go as I planned. I started something again. Of course, I didn't finish it. Like, I'm just not going to do anything. Like, I cannot. And when we have if then statements, we have something in place called capacity habits that I teach on. It's your backup plan. So if I don't have time to go to Bible study today, then I will set a timer and do a 5-minute devotional before bed. Stacking that on top of like after I wash my face, when I wash my face, then I'll do this, thinking of that even deeper, already having that in the back of your head, thinking of, okay, what do I need to do to take care of myself? What is the tiniest little thing I could do with the capacity I'm at today? If it doesn't go to plan, then I will do this instead, because doing something, even if it feels so tiny, is absolutely better than doing nothing.
I love that. I love that. I've never heard of anybody say that, teach that, even if that happens, then I will that, because oftentimes it's like, well, I messed up. And then you're just demotivated and you just give up all the way. So how do you keep yourself motivated? Let's say you did have a day where you didn't even get a chance to do and you did mess up. How do you get yourself back up and keep going? And, mentally, it makes me think of those, figure skaters when they perform, and you can tell the ones that they fall down and like right away, they're like, that's it. I messed up. And then they just keep falling multiple more times after. You can just see it on their face. And then there's a few in between, the ones that they will fall up, but they just get right back up and their face is back on and they just keep on going, right? Like I just can think of a few figure skaters that just do that, So like it's a mental thing. It is a mental thing, 100%. So how do we shift that mindset? Like after we mess up, not to just like scratch it all off and then get ourselves back up.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is giving yourself grace and being consistently flexible. Be consistently flexible, because not every day is going to go as planned. I don't know about you, but how many weeks you've had these best laid out plans, and then you have a sick kid, right? And then things don't go according to plan. As women, we have to do habits differently because we have a lot of external distractions happening our way, right? Something happens and we're like, oh, I don't get to do anything that day for myself. Okay. Or maybe we have a lot of internal distractions, right? You're trying to do like a gratitude practice or journal, but in the back of your head, you're thinking about the to-do list and your grocery list. And, oh, did I do this? And, oh, did I call this person? And, oh, I forgot to cancel this. We have all these different internal and external distractions heading our way. To stay motivated, that's where your habits will come into play, because motivation won't always be there. It absolutely will not be there. And that's where your habits take place. Like movement, for example, for me is an unconscious behavior. I will do some form of movement every day. Not to say I'm doing like a hardcore workout every day. I will go for a walk. I will, dance around the kitchen with my kids or like play fetch with my dog or all of them at once, because I know it makes me feel good. And I really dig deep into that last part of that habit loop, the reward, and take it a deeper level and think about celebrating what you did do, right? A lot of times as women, when I tell people, oh, celebrate, you did it. And they're like, oh, that feels awkward. And that feels weird. We don't celebrate our small wins enough over time. So when we get stuck in that place where we're like, it's just for 3 days now, I haven't been able to like do anything for myself. And, I'm starting to feel, resentment. I'm starting to feel tense. I'm, taking it out on my loved ones. And I don't want to feel like that. I would stop and say, okay, what do I need right now? What can I do to take care of myself? And think about being consistently flexible. Like, okay, I wasn't able to do this, but maybe I can do this instead, and not being so rigid that it has to be all or nothing again, like we talked about, but consistently being flexible with the season of life that you are in. Maybe you have a young baby and you're like, I ain't getting any sleep. I'm not getting up to work out. Like, I hear you there. Sleep will be it's important thing all your life, especially when you have itty bitty babies. And giving yourself grace around that is going to pay off in the long run. So focus on the tiny, small little wins. Celebrate yourself. It could be as simple as being like, woo, I did it. Or even journaling about it, writing it down, putting on a post-it note as a visual cue, and celebrating those small wins over time. So when it does get hard, and maybe there's been a few days where you're like, I just haven't been able to take care of myself, I feel it. Number one, make it a priority. Number two, celebrate those small wins to help you feel that motivation again when motivation won't be there.
Yes, I love that. I even like done this, how sometimes you do all these things throughout the day and you're like, oh, I didn't get anything done. Have you ever done this? I would like write down the things I have already done and check them off to make myself feel better, to celebrate. Like, I accomplished all these things today. So I wanted to ask you one more question when it comes to like habit hacks. Give me a few things that help habits to like, when you start a new habit, to stick with it, like eliminating maybe some of the things that contribute to your old habit, or, like shifting your mindset perspective, like adding a new identity to this new habit, or the rewards or the habit tracking. Like, speak to some of those things that like you always recommend to your clients, that you're like, okay, these are a few things that you need to instill that will help you be more successful in creating a new habit.
Yeah, I think it first has to be personal to you. One of the first steps we teach in our method is your thinking about what your fundamental needs are. Like, and for me, coming as a habit and fitness coach, I like to think of it in just 3 areas to keep it super simple, like your mindset, movement, food, freedom. Which of those fundamental needs is best going to serve you right now? Next, where is all your time going? Maybe doing like a habit or time inventory to see where all your time is going. And then most importantly, your habit identity. What habits are you doing to support who you want to be? So if it's like, I want to be a patient mom. Okay. What basic fundamental needs will help me be a patient mom? Okay, well, probably, fueling my body, getting in like a walk, and maybe, spending a little extra time in prayer throughout the day. Okay. Those are 3 there. What's going to serve you best right now in this season of life that you're in? What is something so super simple you can do? You're like, okay, well, I can set an alarm on my phone every, at the top of every hour, just to ding and remind me, say a little prayer. Okay, that's simple. And see, okay, that allows me to be a more patient mom. A patient mom would maybe be saying little prayers throughout the day for herself and her loved ones and so on. So, and then really take it into their even deeper strategy tracking that if you need to take it to next level, to be able to see, okay, this is working for me. The cues I'm using are working, or maybe this isn't working for me. And maybe this isn't a habit that is serving me, or maybe I just need to change up the time and then slowly start stacking on those other habits. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, but that's pretty much just basic habit strategy. And that's inside of a 5-step method that we teach to really hone in on who do I want to be? What's going to serve me in this season of life that I'm in to take care of myself, and who am I going to be in the habits that will support me to get there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for explaining those. Is there anything else you want to leave the listeners with? Like maybe one thing that you want them to walk away with today?
It's not selfish. It's vital that you take care of yourself, not just for you, but for all your loved ones as well. If you cannot show up as the mom you want to be, the wife, the friend, the sister, all of the above, and you're digging deep and thinking, I just don't feel like myself. I don't feel good about myself. Self-care isn't selfish, and seeing health in a way as how can I train for life to show up as the best version of myself for all stages of my kids' life, for after they leave the home and it's just me and my husband. What am I going to do to continue taking care of myself? And that is absolutely not selfish. That is vital to everything and everyone you love.
I agree 100%. I heard this quote a while back, and I've said it multiple times in other people's podcasts too, is nobody benefits when you're running on empty, and nobody suffers when you take care of yourself.
That's right.
So this was really wonderful. Emily, where can our listeners connect with you? What is their next step?
Sure. Well, they can check out the Self-Transform podcast wherever they listen to podcasts. And I actually have a super secret podcast called Atomic Habits for Women as well. It's just a short little podcast series, which breaks down a little kind of what I alluded to earlier, why as women, we have to do habits differently. And I want you to be able to listen to that and just kind of have a big aha moment where you're like, okay, this is not my fault. My healthy habits haven't been working for me. I just need to do them a little bit differently.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. It was a wonderful conversation to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, Elizabeth. It was great chatting with you.
Beautiful friend, I hope you enjoyed this conversation and it served you well. So here are the takeaways from this podcast episode. Number 1, if you want to create a new healthy habit, use habit stacking to create a new healthy habit. What does that mean? So when then statements. So when I'm brushing my teeth, I will say 5 things I'm grateful for. When I am taking a shower, I will use that time to pray and connect with God. Whatever it is, a when then statement. When you're already doing something else, add something that comes along with it, a healthy habit. Number 2, if something happens and you're not able to stick with the healthy habit that you are trying to work on and create, have a if-then statement. If that happens, then I will do XYZ to support myself and adapt to the current circumstance. If something happens and I can't go to the gym today, then I will do a 10-minute ab workout at home before bed, or whatever it is. Have something else that you're going to do instead. Number 3, a mindset shift that you need to make, like a new identity shift. Who do you identify as? If you identify as somebody who is fit and toned, someone who is healthy, you will be making better choices. You say to yourself, I choose to make positive choices. So how would Elizabeth, or put your name in there, show up in this moment? What would she do? Number 4, it is vital for you to take care of yourself, not just for you, but for your whole family. Your family is not an excuse. They are your reason to take care of yourself. If you have enjoyed this podcast episode, I would love it if you would text it to 2 or 3 girlfriends right now who are working on themselves and want to create healthy habits, and this episode will support them. Also, I wanted to share with you something I've been loving lately. I'm going to do this at the end of every episode this year. share one product off of Amazon that I've been loving and enjoying. And this week, on this episode, I want to share with you a scalp massager that I came across on Amazon. It's really cheap and it feels so good. So when you put shampoo in your hair and use that scalp massager to massage your head, oh my goodness, it feels so good. Totally worth the money. It's less than $10. I think you're going to love it and enjoy it. So I have the link in the show notes. Check it out. I think you're really going to like it. My friend, thank you so much for showing up to this podcast episode. I am so grateful for you. I am praying for you. And if you are struggling with out of control anger, if you're screaming and yelling at your kids and you're ready to make changes. You don't want to be like that anymore. You're ready to invest in yourself. You're ready to break free from generational anger that is holding you down. You don't want to pass that on to your kids anymore. You want to be a godly example for them? Then book a call with me. In the show notes, there's a link for you to book a call and connect with me. And maybe my program is the right fit for you. Pray about it. God is going to give you clarity. And until next time, my friend. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.